Creality SparkXi7 is a trending printer. I have been testing it for a while and the print quality is genuinely impressive. The features set, especially the CFS Lite, is delightful, and yet there are few small drawbacks you should know about. In this video, I will answer almost every question a buyer might have, so stay tuned till the end. Special thanks to 3i Creality for sending me this machine for testing and giving me a complete freedom to share my honest opinion. The unboxing is straightforward. The box is well packed, nothing sketchy here. On the top layer, we get the PEF build plate, a small toolbox, the manual, and the top spool holder. Inside the box, we find the CFS Lite unit. A smaller box with a PTFE tubes, cables, and sample filament, and the pre-assembled main printer. For assembly, we mainly remove protection. Big foam blocks, long tabs, cardboard braces, and a few plastic transport locks on the Z-axis using the Allen key. One thing that stood out, inside the toolbox, we only get 2 Allen keys and 1 blade scraper. That's it. Back in Android 3 days, we used to get a whole festive bundle of tools and accessories. Even the K1 series shipped with extra tools and grease for the rails. Now it has been distilled down to the bare essentials. Anyway, once those parts are removed, we drop the PEI build plate on the printer and it's basically ready to go. For the CFS Lite, same story. Peel off the plastic films. Inside we have the rollers and bearings for the spools. We connect the 4 PTFE tubes to the CFS Lite and the other ends go into the hub on the printer. The PTFE tubes come pre-bundled, so the whole thing looks neat and tidy. Then we connect the CFS Lite cable to the printer. Done. Power cable in, switch on the machine. There is no frame assembly, no melancholic hours of squaring things. Just remove the few protections, connect the CFS, and you're basically plug and play. When you turn it on, a little startup animation appears. First, the printer asks you to agree to the privacy policy, and then it runs a self-check. During self-check, it automatically runs through nozzle heating, heat break fan test, model fan test, heated bed, homing check, cutter calibration. In a few minutes, the self-check is complete. Now we load the filament into the CFS Lite. There is a slot for silica gel packets inside. Loading is very easy. Place the spool on the holder. Insert the filament tip and CFS Lite automatically pulls it in. It feels effortless and the spools sit with almost no wobble. On the screen, we get a closer view of a CFS setup. If you are using a Creality RFID filament, it identifies the material automatically. In the control tab, we can adjust the LED, fans, nozzle and bed temperature and move the axis. In the settings tab, we get a Wi-Fi, firmware update, LED strip colors, CFS Lite settings, error notification. And in the maintenance section, we find the calibration options and more fine-tuning. On the home screen, there are quick buttons for LED and temperature control. Now let's go to the print file and start with our classic Benchy. The first Benchy turned out good. Layer lines, top layers, small details, everything looks clean for a stock profile. I tried one of the preloaded multicolor files to test the CFS Lite. That print also came out nicely with a crisp layer transition. Toy with rounded edges. Next I printed this top toy to check the smoothness on the curved surfaces. After removing support, the finish is smooth and satisfying. Then a spiral print. The edges look sharp and the spiral mechanism actually works perfectly. I also tested PTG with a standard test model. The result was surprisingly good. Overhangs are phenomenal. Bridges are fine. Tolerant test is decent. There's a little issue at the top and some stringing, but that might be because my PTG spool is quite old. Overall, the print looks impressive. A more functional print. This Gridfinity air duster holder came out clean, fits well, and feels usable right away. Then I try multicolor butterflies, and all three came out nicely with vivid colors and no obvious bleeding. Creality mentioned TPU support, so I also tested TEBA flexible filament. I didn't run this through CFS Lite. I loaded it manually. Spool holder at the top, PTFE tube to the extruder, then manually pushing the filament into the extruder using the load function. Initially, it loaded fine, and small test ring printed well. When I try a hair comb, the nozzle jammed on the first layer. I retried few times and hit the same issue. Jam, jam, jam. The positive side, there's an external extruder lever, so you can easily access the drive gears and clear tangles or jams. In my case, the gear simply wasn't gripping the soft filament reliably. Anyway, I printed several more functional parts after that, and they all came out wonderful, including very satisfying infinity cube with moving parts working perfectly. You already know the build volume, good quality 3D prints, CFS Lite for filament storage. So let's jump into the more interesting features. Is the SparkXi7 easy to maintain? So far, yes. There's a quick swap hot end, extruder lever and cutter. If a filament jams, you can reach the extruder gears from the side, which is convenient. I also like the X-axis rail position. It's easy to oil and maintain. You can see the main board, power supply and other electronics laid out in a fairly tidy way. Creality also has documentation and wiki pages for the most common issues. Can we control the printer without a computer? Yes, using a Creality Cloud, you can send prints directly to the printer. Pick a model, and a small slicer view opens where you choose a layer height, filament slot, printer, and then hit print. You do need to log in into Creality Cloud first. If a Creality Cloud stuff feels too modern or you're feeling nostalgically offline, you can still print via USB drive. Is the LED strip just for the ambient vibes? No, you can pick different colors and even a rainbow mode, but it's also functional. The LED indicates printing progress, job completed, pause or error state, so you can glance from across the room and know what's happening. The CFS Lite really useful? Before that, a quick note. The SparkXi7 also came with a new CFS Mini, which holds two spools. Creality claims that if one spool runs out, it automatically switches to the second one and keeps printing. On the other hand, CFS Lite is 4-spool unit and has been very pleasant to use. Loading and unloading is easy. Spool fit with no wobble, and the doors use a rubber gaskets and magnets to close tightly. After many filament changes, I genuinely like this system. It's convenient, keeps filament away from dust and moisture, and feels nicely engineered. The only limitation, it only pulls filament in. It doesn't retract it automatically. So for unloading, you still have to help it manually. It supports RFID, especially Creality's RFID tag filaments. For anyone new to this, the RFID lets the machine read filament type and process automatically when you load a spool. The CFS Lite itself is a lightweight, even the 4 spools. I suspect it could sit on the top of the printer using a printed mount. The frame should handle it and you do save some deck space. I will experiment with such mods in the future videos, so stay tuned. Of course, it's not perfect. There are few things that feels less than enchanting. Does the SparkX i7 have a good camera? Yes, the quality is decent, but the frame rate is actually quite good. There's a very little lag. But you can monitor prints from far away. Creality claims the AI camera can detect spaghetti, air printing, tangles, build plate issues, and more. Color limit and CFS slot. The printer does multicolor prints quite well with almost no color bleed. But there's only one connector for CFS unit. On the website, it's not very clear how many colors are officially supported. In some places, they mention up to 4 colors. So if you dream of a 16 color madness machine, this might feel a bit limited. Slicer support. At the time of recording, I checked all the major slices. This printer isn't officially supported yet. Maybe that will change with the future updates. But right now, it mainly relies on Creality Print. Creality Print itself works, but it's a bit buggy. Sending prints directly over the network sometimes lags or fails. Hopefully firmware and software updates will polish this, but today something you need to be aware of. Flexible filament reality. While the spec sheet mentioned TPU support, my PEBA test showed that the soft filaments can be temperamental, cause jam at the first layer. You can clear them thanks to extruder access. In my experience, it's not carefree flexible material printing experience yet. So where does that leave the Creality SparkXi7? Overall, my impression is quite positive. The print quality out of the box is absolutely fantastic. Quite better than many printers I have tested in this price range. The CFS Lite system is genuinely convenient. The camera and the LED feedback are surprisingly useful. And the general user experience is close to take it out of the box and just start printing. On the melancholic side, you are currently tied to a Creality print and it's bit buggy sometimes. Flexible filament support still feels experimental. Those AI camera feature bit underdeveloped. If you want fast, modern, mostly plug and play multicolor machine with a great print quality and you are okay living Creality's software garden, the SparkXi7 is very strong option. I'm excited to see what future updates and mods can unlock on this Creality SparkXi7. Let me know in the comments what you want me to test next and if you have any specific questions about this printer. Till then, thanks for watching and happy printing.